Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Set Lusting Bruce, your podcast all about Bruce Springsteen, his music, and mostly his fans. I am your host, Jesse Jackson. Joining me today in another timey-wimey episode where it's my morning and his afternoon, Josh Meany. Josh, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, tell us a little about yourself. Where are you calling from?
I'm Irish. I'm from Ireland. I am 21 years of age, and I've been a Bruce fan since very young, since about 3, maybe.
So a long time, exactly, right? Well, I always love getting the next generation of Bruce fans in the show. It's nice to know that the Springsteen fandom is in good shape. Well, talk about growing up, Josh. I assume you grew up in Ireland. Was there a lot of music played in your household when you were a child?
Yes, Bruce was played a lot, so that's how I was introduced. My dad is and was a huge fan of it. His first show was the Slane Castle show here in Ireland. You may have heard of that one in '85.
Yes.
So that was his very first show. Bruce was the artist that was played a lot here at home. I'm trying to think who else was played.
Yeah. Did so I ask this sometimes to people, and people like yourself that are a second generation. I'll ask, when is the first time you remember hearing Bruce? And in your case, you can't, I'm going to put words in your mouth, you can't remember a time when you didn't hear Bruce, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So often, Josh, people rebel against their parents' music. They're like, no, 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 I'm going to find my own way. Tell me, why didn't that happen to you? Was there something about Bruce's music that just spoke to you?
Yeah. Well, one of, if not my very first memories of him is watching the 2002 Barcelona DVD,
Okay.
and that just captivated me. The energy, the voice, the guitar play, the whole thing just captivated me, and I was like, I'm gonna love you for the rest of my life, Bruce.
A lot of people feel that way. Do you are there did your mom, or what did your kind of music did your mom listen to?
Oh, she listened to everything. Like, her favorite Bruce song is "The River" that was played at my parents' wedding. But she listens to everything. She likes Bruce as well, but not as much as my dad and I. But she likes everything: Taylor Swift, Adele, God, Coldplay, everything.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's really cool. So I always like to preface this, Josh, with, the amount of shows you've seen is not necessarily a good barometer of how big of a fan you are, right? Depending on where you live,
Yeah.
what's your age. So have you been able to see Bruce perform live?
Yes.
Oh, talk to me. How many times? And tell me a little bit about those shows.
I've seen him 8 times.
Okay.
Yeah, my very first one was in 2005 on the Devils and the Husk
Yeah.
tour in the Tree Arena. Well, back then it was called the Point in Dublin here
Uh-huh.
in Ireland. He, at the very end of the show, it was during Dream Baby Dream. I think that was the last one. But
Mm-hmm.
I was asleep. I fell
Okay.
asleep. I was only 5, and
Oh, how fun.
yeah, and Bruce saw me, and he brought me up on stage and gave me a guitar pick, which I have framed right across the room from where I am now.
Wow, that's pretty funny. Did someone take a picture of you on stage?
there, there, yes, there was a picture taken, but I haven't seen it in years. We had it on an old laptop,
Okay.
totally threw it away. But of course,
Yeah.
if someone could find that picture, it'd be much appreciated.
Oh yeah, I'd love to do that. That's because I always include a picture when I release the episode, and that would have been pretty fun
Yeah.
to have that for you. So how about that's a great memory. I take it you still have the pic?
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's very cool. What tell me about some of the other shows you've attended and some memories of that.
My very first Eastwood show then was in Belfast in 2007.
Okay.
And again, I was only 7. And we were sitting beside the stage, but high. And before Bruce came on the stage, the security guard came up to him.
Mhm.
He gave 2 guitar picks again from Bruce and Steve Van Zandt.
Mhm.
And he also gave us the handwritten set list of the show, which I also have framed in
Oh,
this room.
nice. That's really cool. What do you think it's because you were so young when you were going is the reason why Bruce and his people kept noticing you guys?
Yeah, maybe that could have been it.
Yeah, that's awesome. What a really cool memory to have. What was the first, what's the latest show you've attended?
In 2016, this is a Dublin night one.
Yeah.
That was the last show that I
Okay.
attended. I was hoping this year to see him in Ireland, London, Rome, and Barcelona, because I hadn't seen him outside of Ireland before, but
Yeah.
we all know what happened with the 2022 tour.
Yeah, the tour that never was announced, got canceled. So you can't
Yeah.
really cancel something that wasn't ever officially announced. But yes, we were all very disappointed. So, Josh, talk to me a little bit. What are some of your favorite albums and songs, and tell me why you love them?
Well, my favorite album is probably, if I had to pick one, it would be the Rising,
Okay.
because also of the Barcelona DVDs. That was the first performance that I watched, and also my aunt was in New York at the time when 9/11 happened. Thankfully, she came out unscathed. But if she was in the World Trade Center at that time, something could have happened. You never know.
Yeah, no. That's my first live show was The Rising here in Dallas, Texas. And so I have a special place in my heart for The Rising as well. Devils and Dust was the first tour I went to after I had bought the CD and listened to it. And so Devils and Dust has a little special place in my heart because that was the first show that I really had heard the songs on a CD and new songs and then got to hear them, right? So that's cool. What are you? I think you're going to university, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What are you studying?
I'm studying software development.
Okay.
So it's all computers and coding and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
And that's it's going well?
Yeah, all fine.
Oh, good. Good. Where are you? What year in at school are you in?
I'm in second year.
Okay, so a sophomore, very nice. What about that? Why did you decide to pursue that? What made you think that's what you wanted to study?
Well, I've always been into computers and computer games and all that sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
that was why.
Okay. Yeah. Good. So talk to me a little about when your thoughts on Letter to You and Western Stars,
Ooh,
as the
all
latest
right.
albums. Tell me a little bit of your thoughts for those.
Well, I Western Stars, I'll say first because that came out.
Sure.
Western Stars is a fantastic album. I kind of wasn't expecting it to
Yeah.
be as as different sounding as it was, because
Mm-hmm.
it's completely different to his other, I say this in inverted commas, solo
Mm-hmm.
albums. There's a more western sounding to the album. But yeah, I, I actually thought he should have done it. Oh, apologies.
That's okay.
That was my Apple Watch.
Yeah.
I actually thought he should have done a tour with the orchestra
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I
for the
agree.
album,
Yeah, I
because
agree. That
that
would
was
have been
fantastic.
great. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And I was so happy that we got, the film. So at least we got to see this orchestra. But yeah, that would have been a really, really cool year. Um, and I love that barn. I just
yeah,
love
it's
that
massive.
barn so much. Yeah. Yeah. Just like, oh man, that is great. Um, so how about Letter to You? From my perspective, I was just blown away
Yeah.
when we found that out. So how about you?
This is probably a hot take,
Okay.
but I'd probably put Letter to You is top five album,
Ah,
because it came out like it was during COVID. We needed Bruce so badly, and he produced an absolute fantastic.
yeah, I don't think that's controversial at all. I agree with you. I think that it I think the closest we can come to this is The Rising, right?
Yes,
Where we
yeah,
needed an album so badly, and to hear the E Street Band after that horrible day in New York, and then that year of COVID and all the uproar in the UK and the US, and the political strife, the medical strife, just the millions of people sick, and so many people dying, and just to get this ray of hope, this album that is dealing with growing old and losing friends, just was it. It is magical. It just will always have a special place in my heart as well. Yeah, I totally agree. Um, so if when he tours again, I won't say if, when he tours again, what are your thoughts, Josh? Do you think we're going to get a lot of Letter to You and Western Star songs, or do you think it's going to be more of like a reunion tour with a lot of just various songs from throughout his career?
very good question.
Hmm.
I think there'll be more Letter to You than Western Stars, because that is an Eastwood album.
Yeah.
I think, personally, I think the only songs he will perform live off Western Stars are the title track
Okay.
and Tucson Train,
Yeah.
because I think those songs will go with the E Street Band really well.
Yeah, I think so too. And I know like Little Steven did a version of Tucson Train that's
Yes, he did,
available.
didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, which was just a great, version of that song. So I absolutely. Um, Tell me, so let's talk a little bit. What are your future plans? What's going on next in your life?
God. To be honest,
Hmm.
I don't know.
Well, I think
um,
that's all of us. I'm
yeah.
62 and I don't know what I'm going to be when I grow up. I'm still waiting to find out. So yeah, that makes total sense.
I'm
Uh,
just taking
yeah,
every day as it comes, really.
yeah. So what I talk to me a little bit. I love that. You're on Twitter at Boss No Context.
Yeah.
That's how I ended up finding you. Why? What was your thought behind making your Twitter handle? No context, Springsteen and memes. Show me a little bit about what was your thought process with that.
Um, One day, I was going through Twitter, and I didn't realize he had a no context page. So I
Yeah.
was like, why not create one? It has just exploded. I made it in November. It was late November, I think, and I'm almost at 1,000 followers.
Oh, very great. That's
Yeah,
perfect.
so it's
Yeah.
just exploded.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can get you a few more followers, when we're talking about this. So Josh, what else should I have asked you? What story did I not ask you about that you want to share, if there is any?
Well, I also have a story about one of the Wrecking Ball shows I was at.
Oh, please share.
From Cork 2013, which is
Okay.
where I'm from, and the stadium where he played isn't far from where I am now. We, I, I was with my I was with my parents and my aunt, and we weren't in the pit, but we were at the front of the other section, if you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean.
Sure.
So we saw my uncle in the pit and we started talking to him. And then this security guard comes in between us and says, "Who's with the kids?" So then obviously my parents and my aunt raise their hands as quick as they can. Then the security guard brings us over to the to the entrance of the pit, and
Yeah.
he puts wristbands on our wrists, and we all entered the pit.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah, and that was probably the best Springsteen show I was at, because it was in my hometown, in
Yeah.
quotation marks.
Mm-hmm.
And he played Frankie, which is in my top 5 songs of his. He
Mm-hmm.
played he did a fantastic cover of Wild Thing.
Uh-huh.
He I think he played the first Real World, which was on piano, since it was either since the Human Touch and Lucky Town tour, or since the Devils and Us tour.
Wow.
I forget. Yeah, I'll have to confirm that with you. It could have been the first Real World since 1992,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not sure. And then he finished off with a fantastic acoustic on the road.
That
He played
that
for about 3 hours or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a great experience. It's a really great experience. That's great. Well, you talked about getting Frankie. Are there other songs that you're chasing that you want to get sometimes?
Yeah. New York City Serenade is a song
Okay.
I would love to hear. Racing in the Streets.
Yeah.
Um, Gosh, Funnel of Love.
Oh, yeah, that would be a good one. I agree.
Yeah. Incident on 57th Street.
Mm-hmm.
Drive All Night is another one. Gosh,
Good.
that,
Yeah.
that's it, I suppose.
Yeah, no,
Those are
that's
the ones.
good answers. Yeah,
Those are
no.
the ones that were off the top of my head.
No. Those are good. Those are good. So, Josh, any final thoughts before I get to the Mary question?
After Mary question.
All right. So, one, I always like to give my friend Jay Armstrong a shout out. He's the one who invented this question. He is an honors English teacher that has recently retired. He has a book out called Bedtimes for the Living. I recommend the book strongly. But he would, when he was a teacher, he would take Thunder Road and break it apart as and study it as a poem with his English students. And they would discuss the themes. They talk about the imagery Bruce used. And at the end of the 2 days, he would ask the question to his students, does Mary get in the car? So Josh, that's your
Oh,
question.
wow.
Does Mary get in the car at the end of Thunder Road?
Oh, I'm going to be optimistic and say yes.
Okay.
Yes, she does. And they drive off into the sunset and they end up having a fantastic time.
I love it. That is a great answer. That is a very great answer. All right. And so, as we talked about, your Twitter handle is at boss no context. Please go follow Josh. Tell him you heard about him on Set Lusting Bruce. Anything you want to say before I let you go?
I think that's about it.
All right. Well, listeners, you stay safe. Have a go get vaccinated, go get boosted. Remember to be kind to each other because that's the only way we're going to get through this. For now, take care of yourself. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, listeners. And we'll talk
Thank
to you
you.
soon. Goodbye. I want and need your feedback. You can reach me multiple ways to tell me what you like or don't like about the show. You can reach out to give me guest suggestions or maybe to join me on the podcast yourself. We're on Twitter at SetLustingBruce or at Jesse Jackson DFW. I have an Instagram, SetLustingBruce or Jesse Jackson DFW. Our Facebook page, facebook.com/SetLustingBruce. Go to patreon.com/SetLustingBruce to find out how you can support the show, and we have several tiers of support. Please go to your favorite podcast player and hit subscribe. And tell a friend about the podcast because that is the way we're going to grow. If you're not tired of hearing me speak, you can hear me on Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast, where Charles Skaggs and I talk all things Doctor Who. The How Many podcast, where me and my friends Gary, Scott, Bob, and Jr. talk pop culture. And finally, my newest podcast, The Last Best Hope for Conversation, a Babylon 5 podcast, where Karen, Lou, and I are going through the TV show Babylon 5 one episode at a time. I am always looking for guests, so please reach out to me, setlustingbruce@gmail.com. You just heard the fun talking, hard rocking, music loving, album ranking, fan thinking, joy spreading, lyric reading, story sharing podcast that is the one, the only Set Lusting Bruce. The theme for Set Lusting Bruce was written by David Rosen, used by permission.